been asking for a sign, and the truth is, you've already received 3 today. You just weren't listening, not because you're broken, not because the universe has turned its back on you, but because somewhere along the way, you learned to look for lightning when guidance speaks in whispers. You learn to expect grand miracles when the sacred hides in the margins of your ordinary life. And so you miss it, the breadcrumbs scattered at your feet, the language your spirit guides are speaking right now, in this moment, through the very fact that you're here, reading these words. Let's talk about what's really happening. Because if you feel lost, if you feel like you're navigating this life alone, stumbling through the dark without direction, I need you to understand something. You are not alone. You have never been alone. There are forces beyond what your eyes can see, presences beyond what your hands can touch, working tirelessly on your behalf. Call them spirit guides, angels, ancestors, the universe itself. The name matters less than the recognition. Something is trying to reach you. Something has been trying to reach you all along. But here's where it gets complicated. We've been conditioned to expect divine intervention, to look a certain way. We think guidance should arrive with trumpets and burning bushes, with absolute clarity that leaves no room for doubt. We want the universe to send us a text message with step-by-step directions. We want it to be obvious, undeniable, impossible to misinterpret. And when we don't get that, when the signs are subtle and the messages are quiet, we assume silence, we assume abandonment, we assume we're on our own. This is the tragedy, not that guidance isn't coming, but that we've been taught to ignore the language it speaks. Your spirit guides are not silent, they're speaking constantly, but they're not shouting over the noise of your life, they're woven into it. They're not separate from your reality, they're orchestrating it. And today, right now, they're using 3 specific signs to get your attention, 3 patterns that are showing up in your life, not randomly, but intentionally. Not by chance, but by design. The first sign is this. You keep seeing the same thing over and over again. A number, a word, a symbol, an image. It follows you. 11:11 on the clock when you glance at your phone. A feather on your path 3 days in a row. Someone mentions the same book twice in the same week. A song you haven't heard in years, suddenly playing everywhere you go. And your rational mind, that beautiful, skeptical guardian of your sanity, wants to dismiss it. Coincidence, it says. Pattern recognition gone wild. Your brain seeking meaning where there is none. And yes, your mind is wired to find patterns, but what if that wiring isn't a flaw? What if you were designed to recognize these patterns precisely because they are how the universe communicates with you? Carl Jung called this synchronicity, meaningful coincidence. He understood that there are moments when the inner and outer worlds align, when the boundary between thought and reality becomes thin, when the universe arranges itself to deliver exactly what you need to know, not through cause and effect, but through meaning, through resonance, through a kind of cosmic entanglement that science is only beginning to grasp. When you keep seeing the same thing, it's not random noise, it's a radio signal, and you're finally tuning to the right frequency. Think about what keeps appearing for you, what number haunts you, what image won't leave you alone. Your guides aren't choosing these symbols arbitrarily. They're meeting you where you are, using the language of your own subconscious, your own memories, your own meaning-making system. That number might relate to a date that changed your life. That word might be the answer to a question you've been holding in your heart. That symbol might be pointing you towards something you've been avoiding or something you're meant to step into. The repetition is the message. It's your guide saying, pay attention, look here, this matters. We're not going to force you to see it, but we're going to keep offering it until you do. So the question isn't whether you're receiving signs. The question is, are you willing to trust that what keeps appearing isn't trying to drive you crazy, but trying to wake you up? The second sign is subtler, and because of that, even more frequently missed. It's this. Your energy shifts suddenly, without external cause. You're going about your day, and then, without warning, a wave of emotion. Peace when you should be stressed. Anxiety when everything is fine. An inexplicable urge to call someone. A sudden knowing that you need to change direction, leave the party, take a different route home. And you can't explain why, there's no logical reason, but the feeling is undeniable. Most people override this. They logic themselves out of it. They tell themselves they're being irrational, paranoid, overly sensitive. They push through the resistance. They ignore the intuitive hit. And later, sometimes minutes later, sometimes years later, they realize that feeling was right. That urge was protection. That sudden knowing was guidance trying to move through them. Your spirit guides don't have bodies. They can't tap you on the shoulder or hand you a written note, but they can influence your energy field. They can send you emotional information. They can create feelings that guide you toward what serves you and away from what doesn't. This is why spiritual teachers throughout history have spoken about trusting your gut, following your intuition, listening to that still small voice within. It's not just poetic advice, it's practical instruction for how to receive the guidance that's always flowing toward you. When your energy shifts suddenly, your guides are in the room. When you feel an unexpected wave of emotion that doesn't match your circumstances, they're trying to tell you something. When you have a strong urge that seems to come from nowhere, they're pointing you in a direction. But here's the key, you have to honor it. You have to build trust with this process. You have to start treating these energetic hits not as random static, but as sacred information. That means when you feel that pull to leave, you leave. When you feel that urge to call someone, you call. When you feel that wave of peace in the middle of chaos, you pause and receive it. When you feel that unexpected anxiety, you check your surroundings, you reassess, you listen. Your guides are working overtime to protect you, redirect you, comfort you, encourage you. But if you keep dismissing the primary way they communicate through your own felt experience, you're essentially hanging up the phone every time they call. So today, pay attention to your energy. Notice when it shifts. Notice when an emotion arrives that doesn't seem to match the moment. Notice when you feel pulled in a direction you can't explain. That's not you being weird. That's you being receptive. That's you being open to the guidance that's trying to move through you. The third sign is the one that will make you question everything you thought you understood about randomness and fate. It's this: someone shows up with exactly what you need, right when you need it. A stranger says something that answers the question you were just asking in your mind. A friend texts out of the blue with information that solves a problem you've been sitting with. You overhear a conversation that directly relates to your situation. A book falls off the shelf, literally or metaphorically, and opens to a page that speaks to your soul. We call these moments random. We call them lucky breaks. We call them small world moments. But they're not random, they're orchestrated. Your spirit guides can't always speak to you directly, so they speak through other people. They use the humans around you as messengers, often without those people even knowing they're being used that way. This is where free will and divine timing intersect in the most beautiful way. Your guides are constantly arranging synchronicities, lining up encounters, placing people in your path. But they can't override anyone's free will. They can only create the conditions for connection. They can inspire someone to reach out to you, but that person still has to choose to send the message. They can place you in the same room with someone who has what you need, but you both have to be open enough to have the conversation. This is why being present matters. This is why putting your phone down and looking around matters. This is why having real conversations, making eye contact, being available to the moment matters. Because your guides are working through the field of human connection. They're using the web of relationships, the network of souls, to deliver messages, resources, healing, and confirmation. The cipher of inner stillness is a poetic journey through the hidden geometry of peace. Blending mystical philosophy, Jungian psychology, and cosmic symbolism, This ebook reveals that silence is not the absence of life, it is its source. Discover this and other codices that transform the way you see the universe through the link in the description. Think about the last time someone said something that hit you in a way they couldn't have intended. The exact words you needed to hear, spoken casually, like they didn't even know what they were doing. That wasn't an accident. That was your guide speaking through their voice. Think about the last time you bumped into someone unexpectedly, and that encounter changed something for you. That wasn't random. That was coordination on a level your logical mind can't fully track. Your guides are using the people in your life, friends, family, strangers, even people you're in conflict with, to deliver information, opportunities, and perspective. This means every interaction has the potential to be sacred. Every conversation might contain the peace you've been searching for. Every encounter might be the answer showing up in disguise. So when someone reaches out to you today, pay attention. When you have an unexpected conversation, listen deeply. When someone shares something that resonates, recognize it. That's not small talk. That's not filler. That's the universe using human language to speak directly to you. Now, here's what happens when you start recognizing these three signs. When you stop dismissing the repetition, when you honor the energy shifts, when you treat encounters as sacred, you don't just receive guidance. You step into a different relationship with reality itself. You move from feeling like a victim of circumstance to recognizing yourself as someone in active communication with the intelligence that runs through all things. Life becomes less lonely because you realize you're in constant conversation. Every moment is feedback, every day is dialogue. You're not shouting into a void, hoping someone hears you. You're part of a living exchange. Your guides are listening to your questions, feeling your struggles, witnessing your pain and your joy. And they're responding, constantly. Through the signs, they know you'll notice if you're paying attention. This changes how you make decisions, because you stop white-knuckling your way through life, trying to figure everything out alone. You start asking for signs, you start requesting clarity, and then you watch, you notice, you receive, and you act based on what shows up. This doesn't mean you become passive, it means you become collaborative. You're still showing up, still doing the work, still making choices, but you're doing it with support. You're doing it in partnership with forces that see further than you can see, that know more than you can know, that love you more than you've learned to love yourself. This changes how you interpret hardship, because when something difficult happens, instead of collapsing into, "Why is this happening to me?" you start asking, "What is this trying to show me?" Instead of feeling punished, you look for the redirect. Instead of feeling abandoned, you look for the lesson, the growth, the recalibration. You trust that your guides aren't causing your pain, but they're absolutely using it to steer you toward your highest path. This changes how you feel about the future, because uncertainty stops being terrifying when you know you're being guided. You don't need to see the whole map. You just need to trust the next sign. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to stay open, stay present, stay willing to be led. And step by step, sign by sign, synchronicity by synchronicity, you're taken exactly where you need to go. But here's the thing, and this is crucial, your guides will never override your free will. They will never force you to see what you're not ready to see. They will never make you take a path you're not willing to walk. They offer, they suggest, they point, but you have to choose to look. You have to choose to trust. You have to choose to follow. This is why so many people miss the signs. Not because the signs aren't there, but because on some level they're not ready to receive what the signs are pointing toward. They're too attached to their current story, too comfortable in their discomfort, too afraid of what change might require. And so they look away, they rationalize, they dismiss, they wait for a louder, clearer, more undeniable sign, one that doesn't require faith, doesn't require risk, doesn't require them to step into the unknown. But that's not how this works. Guidance requires participation. It requires you to meet it halfway. It requires you to trust before you have proof, to step before you see the ground, to say yes before you know exactly what you're saying yes to. This is the test. This is the initiation. Not will the universe guide me, but am I willing to be guided? So let's come back to this moment, to today, to right now. What has been repeating in your life? What keeps showing up? What are you noticing again and again that you've been trying to write off as meaningless? Look at it again. Sit with it. Ask, what are you trying to tell me? What do you represent? Where are you pointing? How has your energy been moving? When did you feel that sudden shift, that inexplicable emotion, that strong urge, that intuitive hit? Did you honor it, or did you talk yourself out of it? Next time it happens, pause. Don't immediately rationalize it away. Sit with it. Ask, what is this feeling trying to protect me from or guide me toward? Who has shown up in your life recently with something you needed? What conversation did you have that felt strangely relevant? What message did you receive that seemed to speak directly to what you were going through? Don't dismiss it. Don't call it coincidence. Recognize it. Honor it. Thank the messenger, even if they don't know they were being one. Your spirit guides are speaking today. They've been speaking all along. And the question is, and whether they're trying to reach you, it's whether you're willing to receive. You don't have to believe in anything specific to work with this. You don't have to adopt a certain religion or spiritual framework. You just have to be willing to consider the possibility that you are held by something larger than yourself, that you are known by something deeper than your thoughts, that you are loved by something wiser than your fear, and that this something, whether you call it the universe, God, source, your higher self, or simply the mysterious intelligence that beats your heart without your conscious effort, is on your side, always has been, always will be. And it's speaking to you in the only language that transcends all barriers, the language of synchronicity, the language of energy, the language of divine timing, showing up through the ordinary moments of your extraordinary life. So keep your eyes open, keep your heart soft, keep your intuition sharp. The signs are everywhere. Your guides are closer than your breath. And today, right now, they're whispering, we see you, we're with you. And we've been leaving you breadcrumbs all along. All you have to do is pick them up. If this resonated with something in you, if you felt that small shift, that's a sign too. Not from me, but through me. Subscribe if you want more of these reminders. Like if you're ready to start noticing. Share if you know someone who needs to hear that they're not alone in this. Not for the algorithm, but because maybe you'll be the messenger your guides are using to reach someone else today. You're being guided. You always have been. And the moment you truly accept that, everything changes. Not because your circumstances suddenly become perfect, but because you stop feeling like you're navigating this alone. You stop feeling like you have to have all the answers. You stop feeling like you're failing every time you don't know what to do next. You realize you don't have to know, you just have to trust. You just have to stay open. You just have to keep following the signs that are being left for you, one after another, like stars appearing in the darkening sky, visible only when you stop looking at the ground and remember to look up. To celebrate your arrival, we've prepared a gift, a guide to help you navigate your inner transitions with clarity and elegance. Alignment. 7 Phases of Consciousness Awakening. Download your copy from the link in the description.